We're ready.
Mayor, I have a few preliminary matters. This is City Clerk Zoe Burgess. This meeting is being held with the quorum of City of Westlake Council, physically in attendance at the Westlake Council Chambers, 4005 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Vice Mayor John Paul O'Connor, Mayor Roger Manning, and Councilwoman Kara Crump are present physically. Councilman Paul and Councilwoman Katrina Long Robinson are attending via communications media technology. Council Long Robinson, are you able to speak and hear?
Yes, I am able to speak and hear.
Councilman Hall, are you able to speak and hear? Councilman Paul? City Manager Kenneth Castle, Interim City Attorney Jacob Horowitz are present and physically in attendance. City Clerk Zoe Burgess, Planning and Zoning Director Nilsa Zacharias, Engineering Director Suzanne Dombrowski are present via communications media technology. Please allow me to confirm any speakers that are virtually present and available to speak. Donaldson Hearing of Cutler Hearing, are you able to speak and hear?
I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Public comments may be accepted prior to the meeting utilizing the electronic comment card available on the city's website. Public comments are also permitted at the appropriate time during the meeting. The mayor will call for such during public comment, and you may participate at this time utilizing the system's virtual hand feature and waiting to be acknowledged if you wish to comment. Please note this meeting is being recorded, both voice and video, and to remember your mic may be live. I will mute any microphones that carry any feedback or interruptions. If you are a caller that has been muted, you may unmute yourself by pressing *6. Any person in the virtual meeting causing a disruption or being inappropriate will be removed. If I may also remind those physically in attendance, please utilize microphones so that the virtual audience and a clear recording of the meeting is produced. Mayor, if you allow me to see if Councilman Paul can hear.
If you would, please.
Yes, I can hear you, and I'm present.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor Manning.
Thank you. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Katrina Long Robinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Kara Crump.
Here.
Councilman Patrick Paul.
Here.
Vice Mayor John Paul O'Connor.
Present.
Mayor Roger Manning.
Here. And we're calling the meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do you have any additions, deletions, or modifications on the agenda set for this evening? No, Mr. Mayor. So, show none, so we have a motion for approval, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion to approve the agenda by Vice Mayor O'Connor, seconded by Councilwoman Crump. Roll call. Councilman Paul.
Yes.
Vice Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Mayor Manning.
Yes.
Councilwoman Long Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Crump.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Other comments from us? Section of the agenda allows for comments. Public comment on any item not presented on the agenda. Comment. A public comment card should be completed and returned to the city clerk. When you are called to speak, please go to the podium or to your microphone. And prior to addressing the council, state your name and address for the record.
Mayor, I received no previous comment cards. However, we'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand. If you are on a telephone device, please press *6. Again, if you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand, unmute your device, or press *6 if you are on a telephone device. Please state your name and address. Mayor, I see no public comments.
Thank you. We'll move on with the consent agenda. This section of the agenda consists of routine administrative items that require final approval by the City Council and may be approved in its entirety by a single motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a City Council member requests such, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on a future agenda. Item A, approval of the minutes, and item B is going to be approval of financial statements.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion to approve consent agenda by Vice Mayor O'Connor, seconded by Councilwoman Crump. Roll call. Vice Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Mayor Manning.
Yes.
Councilwoman Long Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Crump.
Yes.
Councilman Paul. Councilman Paul. Looks like we may have lost.
And I
There we go.
apologize. I'm just driving. It's a little difficult.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. We have no presentations or proclamations this evening. Move on to the public hearings portion of the agenda. We're going to start with A, final plat for Crestwind Palm Beach Phase 3. We have a presentation by Mr. Herring. Please, read by title.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Council. Item before you is Resolution 2021-11. It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, approving the final plat for Crestwind Palm Beach Phase 3, being a replat of a portion of Tract OST 20 Crestwind Palm Beach Phase 2, as recorded in Plat Book 130, pages 199 through 205, Public Records, Palm Beach County, Florida. Portion of Section 6 and Section 7, Township 43 South, Range 41 East, and Section 11, Township 43 South, Range 40 East, City of Westlake, Palm Beach County, Florida, providing for recordation and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Herring.
Well, good evening, council members. For the record, Donaldson Hearing with Kotler and Hearing here tonight on behalf of Coulter and Crestwinds Palm Beach. So on the screen is, and we can go to that next slide, Zoe, that's just fine. On the screen is the location of the parcel. So Crestwinds, as a reminder, currently has a total of 659 homes that have been approved by way of the master plan for parcel P1, and ultimately up to 800 homes when we look at parcel P2. So tonight we're here to talk about the third plat within Crestwinds. As you'll recall, this is the active adult component of Westlake, and we're pleased to tell you that there's a lot of activity, a lot of interest in the 55 plus community and being located and who want to take advantage of the great amenities that we have here at Westlake. So on the screen, you can see the boundaries of Plat 1, Plat 2, and Plat 3. Plat 3 is to the south, and I'll show that to you in a little bit more detail here in a minute. 169 homes, and then the area that's green to the east are future phases that we would anticipate coming forward with shortly. So the plat boundary is about 50 acres, 49 acres. It's in the R2 zoning district, and we're proposing 169 new homes within this particular plat. And again, all of these are consistent with the approved master plan that's been approved by the city. So this is the site. It's this area that's highlighted in green. And there's 169, my screen here is saying 170, but it's 169 new homes in this particular plat. The site is immediately south of the clubhouse and the large amenity parcel. This is a large amenity. We're in for permit for that right now, and looking forward to bringing that forward shortly. So up here in this portion of the site, we will be building a new model center, and that new model center will be probably under construction sometime earlier or later this year. So we're really excited about that. Again, there's 169 new lots within this particular plat that's proposed. So this is a plat, and as you're aware, plats are required to meet the minimum requirements of the Florida statutes. There's a lot of boilerplate information on a plat, which include legal descriptions, but it also describes each of the individual parcels and lake tracts and drainage easements and buffer parcels. It identifies who's responsible to maintain them and who they're being dedicated to, whether they're being dedicated to the city or Seminole Improvement District. And of course, many of the parcels are dedicated to the homeowners association or the property owners association for their long-term maintenance. And on the plat, when you drill down into it, it provides a lot more technical information. So in this particular case, this is one of the pages of that plat. It defines open space parcels and drainage tracts that provide the drainage in between parcels to lots, as well as buffer parcels along our roadway. And that's pretty much our presentation. Again, this is consistent with the approved master plan, the master plan for Westlake, as well as the master plan for the Crestwinds development. This has been reviewed by your city engineering department and your planning staff, both who have recommended approval for the requests, and we would request your approval this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we have any discussion on this resolution from the council? Questions? Hearing? Good. I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2020-11. 2021.
It's a public hearing there.
Okay. So we open it up. Zoe?
Anyone who wishes to make a comment on this item, please raise your virtual hand. If you're on a telephone device, please press *6. Please state your name and address. Mayor, I see no virtual hands. You may close the hearing.
Okay. Motion to approve resolution 2021-11.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Vice Mayor O'Connor, seconded by Councilwoman Crump. Roll call. Mayor Manning,
Approved.
Councilwoman Long Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Crump,
Yes.
Councilman Paul,
Yes.
Vice Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, City Clerk. Move on to item B, which is the variance request from the applicant Minto PDLH LLC, submitted by the interim city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Once repeating again, we have the resolution 2021-14, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, relating to a variance request from the applicant Minto PBLH LLC for the crossings of Westlake, this Plot M2, a 130-unit townhome project located at 5075 Sycamore Road. Said approval will allow 80% dead-end streets for the city's interim unified land development code, Article 3, Section 2A, Sub 2A, allows a maximum of 20% dead-end streets in the city of Westlake, Palm Beach County, Florida, filing for effective date.
Thank you. Would you like to explain why you have this variance?
Sure, happy to, Mayor. Thank you. Again, good evening. So this item is sent to our office, and there was some question as to whether the planning and zoning board or the city council has the final authority when it comes to variances in the city. There are some inconsistent ordinances that we found during our review of this matter. There was an ordinance that was adopted in 2016 that established the planning and zoning board. That ordinance was amended in 2020. Both of those ordinances refer to P&Z as an advisory board solely, making recommendations to this council. In the interim, there was an ordinance adopted in 2019, which references P&Z as a final decision-making authority. So this item before you this morning, in an abundance of caution, to put this council as the final decision-maker when it comes to variances. We also have an ordinance that we've been working on with your city manager that will be coming on the next council meeting to correct consistency and potentially clean up several provisions of the code, encapsulating everything into Chapter 1 as it relates to P&Z's authority, and P&Z will be the final decision maker on variances. But because of that inconsistency and an abundance of caution, presenting this item to you this evening.
Great. Thank you for that explanation.
Thank you.
Do we have any discussion from the council on this item?
My only question is, moving forward, the resolution that you're working on, assuming it passes, will that make P&Z the final authority?
P&Z will be the final authority on variances. All other land development approvals will come from the council, unless they fall within the administrative authority.
Excellent, thank you. I don't have any more questions.
Mr. Question, yes.
I noticed the address is 5075 Sycamore Pratt. Is that the correct address for the location? I thought it was off Town Center Parkway South.
We will reconfirm the address.
For Pollyanna. Yes, we just need to
We'll
double check that.
reconfirm the address, but we understand which property we're referring to when it comes to this variance.
Zoe, do you have any comments from the public?
I received no, actually, I received no previous comment cards. However, I have a virtual hand from Ms. Tara Dewey of Lewis Longman.
Good evening, Council. Tara Dewey, Lewis, Longman, and Walker on behalf of the applicant Minto PBLH LLC. I simply, just to be in an abundance of caution, would like to ask that and ensure that the application materials and our presentation before the Planning Zoning Board are made part of the record for tonight's hearing on our variance.
Without objection. Thank you.
Yes, please. Yes.
It is noted for the record. Are there any additional public comments? If you please raise your virtual hand. If you're on a telephone device, please press *6. Mayor, I see no additional comments.
Thank you. No additional comments. We have a motion.
The motion to approve resolution 2021-14.
Second.
I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-14 by Councilwoman Crump, seconded by Vice Mayor O'Connor. Roll call. Mayor Manning.
Approved.
Councilwoman Long Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Crump.
Yes.
Councilman Paul. Councilman Paul.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Vice Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, I see nothing on the regular agenda for this evening. New business. Mr. Council, you bringing this one up, fee increase for Infomart contract?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. If you recall, you asked a question at the last meeting, and if you also recall that at last budget hearing last year, we were talking about maybe possibly expand personnel. It is time to do that, and if you remember, also, we had budgeted in general government an additional amount of money to be able to cover this additional person later in the year. What we'll be using out of this year's budget and the remaining part of this year is about $40,000 to cover between now and September 30th. The full amount will end up being in the next year's budget in the proper line item.
My question is that that extra money, who are you gonna be bringing in to help and doing what?
I'm sorry.
What will this person be doing?
This person has a number of things. They're going to be heading up coordination of the HAPPY program. Plus, they're going to be tracking bonds better and doing that. Also, there's a couple other items that I have on the agenda for reworking, looking for grant money that's out there, as well as some of the information for schools, fundings, other type situations they'll also be looking at and coordinating those type of efforts.
What would be this employee title?
Operations coordinator.
And what's their full salary?
It's a salary position.
93, is that what I read?
That's an all-in number for everything.
And okay.
Yeah, that's all in for the city. All their taxes, insurances, overhead, et cetera, will apply.
What amount are we talking about here?
The total request for additional funding is $93,500 per year.
What did we set aside in the budget?
I set aside for this year $61,000, but in the overall budget we have in general government, $115,000 overall for this year. We have not spent that, and out of that $115,000, spending about $40,000 on this year's budget.
Do you already have one in mind? What search look like for this employee?
It's been advertised on the Infomark website as of today.
So they'll be familiar with grant writing.
There's a number of things in the job description that they have to be responsible for.
Is this something that perhaps we can hold off on? I mean, the city is still not where, it's self-sustaining, and that's quite an amount to add to the budget. Is there some sort of workaround possible?
It's not adding any dollars to your budget. It's just expending the dollars that you've already budgeted.
I think the point was that Mr. Castle's role is becoming increasingly overburdened, and talk about being spread too thin. So I'm thinking that it's necessary to bring in another person to help.
No, we did budget for, and we're actually not gonna use, you have 60,000 still in the budget for positions for this year.
Correct.
And you're only gonna use
40
40
of
of
that,
60,
correct.
so
20 that carry
we're
over.
still on 20 carry over. Next year.
Yes,
yeah.
motion approved.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion on the floor for fee increase for Infomark contract by Vice Mayor O'Connor, seconded by Councilwoman Crump. Roll call. Councilwoman Long Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Crump,
Yes.
Councilman Paul,
No.
Vice Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Mayor Manning.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. Thank you.
Before we have some comments. I'd like to ask new fire chief to introduce himself.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Council. Pleasure to be here. My name is Anthony Tazi. You can call me Tony. That's my nickname. They call me Anthony Duff because I was in some sort of trouble. That's an Italian thing. But, I've been with Palm Beach County Fire Rescue for 28 years. I'm in my 28th year, correct. Been in the fire service for 37. I did 9 years down in the city of Coral Gables before coming up. So I started around 10. Thank you for laughing. But yeah, I've been doing it a long time, and I still got another 3 years to go. So I look to do that here as your fire chief in Westlake. I'm real excited to join your team. I hope you can call on me for any favors, anything I can do to help you out. But yeah, it's just a blessing. I've raised my 2 children for the last 20 years over in Wellington. So I'm just a stone's throw away. I have a lot of friends that live in your community, so it's a beautiful community. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're right here at 22?
Station 28. I'd love to be at 22. What a beautiful station you guys.
So how many stations do you oversee?
9. Well, 17 right now because they're still trying to backfill my spot down in West Point and Delray, but that should be done by the end of the month.
Excellent.
But it'll be 9 stations for me. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Okay, move on to city council comments. Councilman Long Robinson?
Just a couple of questions. 3 actually, and they're kind of loaded, and Ken, these are directed to you. Universal Health Services purchased, I noticed they purchased more land in Palm Beach Gardens, Ken. And so I was wondering if we have any, or have they provided any updates as it relates to development in our city?
They have not to date. I know the city clerk is reaching out again for them. We originally had them scheduled to give us an update in December, but that fell through. So we'll try to get them on for the June or July meeting.
Okay. President Biden's American Rescue Plan, we're talking about money, and I'm sure, confident we should have some coming in, I'm hoping. President Biden's American Rescue Plan for cities that has rolled out, as well as I know Congresswoman Frankel has identified plans. I know there's a lot of stipulations with hers. And there is a Palm Beach County reimbursement plan. What funds, if any, can we expect or would come forward, do you expect would come forward as a result of COVID?
The clerk's office looked through the Frankel information. There was nothing there that was really applicable to Westlake. The reimbursements, we have all the documentation in. We're waiting for the reimbursement from the first round to come back from the county, but I have not seen it come into the system yet. We'll be checking with them. We check with them every Wednesday. And as far as on the new money on the rescue plan, theoretically, we're earmarked for, I think, $500,000 or $600,000, but we have nothing from the feds to the county to us as a city as to what those funds could or could not be spent on. We, as well as the county, is still trying to get clarification from the federal government as to what these funds can be used for, what the restrictions are, et cetera. But we haven't seen anything in writing yet. We've got some feedback off and on, but it's not solid or in writing yet.
Okay, and so if we were to get those those funds, sorry, how would you allocate them? Or you would have to kind of identify, they would have to tell you in what way you would have to allocate those funds for our budget?
They would set parameters. In other words, some of it might be able to be used for hardening the facilities. It depends on what they've earmarked it for as to what we could or could not use, whether we could or could not use the entire amount in our budget or not.
Okay. And then now that we have commercial, I know we are working to have more commercial real estate come up. Chapter 3 of our comp plan talks about transportation. So just kind of to my colleagues, I am going to start working with our city manager with Chapter 3 of public transportation, especially since we'll be having economic development coming out. And so I'll be kind of coming back in hopes of some information about public transportation from some meetings.
Thank you. Councilwoman Crowe?
I don't have anything tonight.
Councilman Paul?
I don't have anything.
Vice Mayor O'Connor?
So I'll be brief. I went to our wonderful adventure park over the weekend. For those of you who don't know, we have about 6 electric car charging stations right at the front. And I was happy and sad at the same time because every single one of those spots was taken up by a golf cart, every one. And you can actually fit, you know, since the spots are for normal cars, it's like 3 golf carts per 2 spots. So, I mean, these things were lined up and it was great. But again, if somebody had a Tesla and they needed to charge it, they wouldn't be able to. My point is, I think now that we are officially, we have the ordinance for the golf carts. We bill ourselves as a golf cart community. We're promoted as a golf cart friendly city. I think it's time we at least discuss the idea of amending our parking code to require, especially for all this new commercial that's coming in, maybe a very small percentage dedicated to golf carts. So, I mean, even if it was, there's 100 spots, if 6 of them were dedicated to golf cart spots, it's about 12 golf carts. But I love the idea of being able to hop in the golf cart, run to the tax collector's office, get your fishing license, have a nice spot.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think it's a great idea, being that we're a very golf cart friendly city, and at least it's something we need to discuss. So, we make the agenda.
Actually, it's already in the works.
Okay, we're hearing that.
We've had several meetings with the planning and zoning director, myself, and engineering, in that we're looking at updating the parking ordinances and how best to accommodate that without adding extra spaces per se, but doing an offset that you could do. Take golf cart spaces and convert them into parking spaces, or to golf cart spaces from parking spaces without having to increase the total number of parking spaces. We're trying to figure out so that it can be very flexible for whoever comes in, so that if one client goes out and somebody else comes in, you wouldn't have certain numbers required for certain things that you don't need. In other words, that they can, or somebody comes in and originally it may not have had as many golf cart spaces that they want to add more. So, putting the market spaces in there. Not necessarily a charging station, allow charging stations. It's a matter of people will want to have charging stations there, and others it becomes a problematic issue for them. So we're trying to work on that. We've already had some meetings. We'll be bringing back that. I believe that is scheduled to be coming in. I think our goal right now is July. Nielsen, can you?
Yes, I am. Vice Mayor, Mr. Ken Castle is correct. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Yes, we are working with planning and zoning and also our city engineer, Suzanne. We are looking at the updating the parking code. In fact, we have a follow-up meeting this Thursday where we already have some suggested language. So we are diligently working, and hopefully we can bring a proposed language at the July meeting.
You guys are on the ball. Thank you very much.
We're pushing a lot of.
And again, I just want to thank Tony for coming down and introducing himself.
Thank you
very much. That's all I got.
Okay. I'd like to thank Mr. Horowitz for coming in this evening.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's a long drive. And the new chief, thank you for coming by tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Introduce yourself. And being a very short agenda tonight, we'll move it over to staff reports.
You have in front of you the report from the PBSO. And if you have any questions, I Don't know if Captain Turner's on or not, but that's your monthly reports for there. I will say that I do notice in the mornings that the officers are definitely working the school zone. So that's a kind of a shout out to the residents that they are working it in the mornings and the afternoons. So mind the school zone area.
Okay. Okay, that's it for that. Report from our interim city attorney.
Just nothing substantive to report. Just wanted to pass along our appreciation for the opportunity, and it's anything we can help anyone do with. We're certainly available, as I hope you all know. And it's been a pleasure to work with your city manager, and we'll continue to remain as engaged and responsive as we can be. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I appreciate the reports we're getting every Friday.
Yeah.
If you have any
Keeps us
questions
up to
that
date.
anything on there, just you know where to reach us.
Fantastic.
Mr. City Manager.
I have a couple things, Mr. Mayor. If you recall last month, we talked about goals and objectives. One of the first items, 1A, is looking at a 5-year longer plan, financial plan. We started doing that. We're looking into the initial forecast and stuff. As of right now, it looks like based upon single only home sales, no commercial coming in. By the time the funding expires, we should be okay. Based upon what we're seeing right now in our estimates. But we're digging into it deeply to make sure, and y'all can hope that the commercial will come in even faster, which gives us that much more leeway to deal with. But right now we're working on those. We'll be bringing back that information along with presentation in the June meeting for a preliminary budget. Nothing to really act on, but just to walk you through where we are, where we think we're going to be on the budget on different line items. So we'll have that in for the June meeting as well. And then from there, we should have the actual numbers from the county. Then we'll start going into the hard numbers based upon the actual retail value of the homes for that. That's the first item.
Well, that's pretty exciting news right there.
Great.
I'm telling you, that puts a smile on my face for today.
Mine as well. And on our estimates, we are estimating conservatively to make sure that any fluctuations could be accounted for.
And that's without commercial, or that's including the commercial we have coming?
No commercial
Beautiful.
in our projections. Because we didn't know when the commercial was actually going to hit, which means if the commercial, 711 1.0, they'll be finished up, they'll be on next year. 2.0 should probably be done. Publix may not be done by the end of the year, but it would be on the following tax year. So, and depending on how fast the storage facility and other stuff comes out of the ground, it should start picking up fairly nicely.
They're getting close on this end.
Next item also, yesterday was light, but as I kind of joked with a couple of you before the meeting started, get ready for June. It will be a full agenda. There will be a number of ordinances on it for first reading. We'll be cleaning up some things, Chapter 3, Chapter 5, noise ordinance, a number of things that we're working with staff and the interim attorney to get squared away and ready to go. Followed in July, we'll be doing some first readings on hopefully mobility and a couple other items. Try to close those out as well. Get these loose ends tied up. Where we are on those. Next thing is most of the residents have received or should be receiving a postcard in the mail from Sycamore Improvement District. They are transitioning to a new billing company that'll be handling the billing and customer service numbers. So that's a whole new attached operation. You will also be able to do your applications online, pay online, as well as put in a auto pay, which a number of residents have requested. So there is a number of changes that are coming out, but they're in the middle of the transition right now. So next few weeks is trying to work out all the bugs to make sure things happen, and we're still watching the accounts to make sure that everybody's getting appropriately billed and making corrections where necessary. And the last item is a Covert project crossing down at Sycamore. All the permits are issued. They should be starting sometime next week and really getting underway the week of May 20th. It's a 120 to 160 day project, so they're trying to get through as fast as they can.
Are there any further updates on FPU?
Yes, FPU has all its permits from the various entities. They're waiting for their final environmental permit. Once it's given, then it'll be coming through. They are supposed to be giving me an update on their timeline on their construction, because we're nearing the point where they're going to have to get another extension on their tank farm. I believe it is in July, I believe it's in July. So we're trying to get an actual construction schedule from them so we know where we are. I do know that the site for their depressurization station has been worked out with the principal landowner. It's been relocated because of the storage units. It's been shifted north, closer between the storage unit property and the next property north of it. And it's been tucked, actually, it's really a nicer location for access, ingress, egress for them and stuff. So they're working on that as well. It's been pushed.
The Covert crossing,
Yes.
how do you anticipate that's going to affect the traffic flow?
Well, it'll cut it down to a single lane for a while. In other words, it's going to
For
be
160 days? For 160 days, for 5 months?
It'll shift twice.
Okay.
It'll be shifted to the east, if I'm remembering correctly. They're going to start in the middle of the road and go to the west first. Then they're going to shift the traffic to the west, come over to the east side. But it will be choked down, similar to what they were having to do on Seminole Pratt with some of the other work at Water's Edge. So it will be choked down. But we are going into summer, which does eliminate some of the issues, but it's still there. It impacts it.
It's still going to be annoying. Got it.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, that pushes us to the public comments. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to speak on items only presented on the agenda. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. The public comment card should be completed and returned to the city clerk.
Mayor, I received no previous comment cards. However, we'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand or mute their device. Please state your name and address. If you are on a telephone device, please press *6. And if you're in the virtual audience and you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand, unmute your device, or press *6. State your name and address. Mayor, we have no public comments.
Thank you. Well, that completes our agenda for this evening. So our next meeting will be June 14th, 2021. And of course, that will be subject to change or cancellation. And we'll adjourn our meeting at 7:14 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
7:14.
Bye.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You as well. Thanks.